Another day, another atrociously priced Canadian hotel for me to look at. So let's talk about it. Why are hotels in Canada so terribly priced for what they have to offer? If you're new here, well, you better pull up a chair because we like to talk a lot on this channel. My name is Pam Matani. I'm a lawyer, entrepreneur. I have other YouTube channels that I'll link down below talking about luxury or law, but this is my talks and vlogs, my catch-all, talk about everything, bestie up, safe space on the internet kind of moment. And I'm sure that for like all of these thoughts that I share here, somebody else is thinking the same thing. So this is my most community focused channel so far. And let's talk about the price of accommodations and hotels in Canada. Tell me why. I'll be looking at, so right now I'm coming from Western Canada to Toronto to fly out of the Toronto airport for a trip I have planned starting with Japan. And you know, being a world traveler, I didn't always have it, honey. In the last 5 years, my husband and I, you know, have gone from like food bank to now I have clients that are literally billionaires. But so I know both sides of the equation. And, you know, in terms of when you're poor, like what you really could be getting with something, with the money instead of what you're paying for. And when you're wealthy, well, that just unlocks all the doors and you're able to see things that, you know, 5-star hotels in Dubai are $50. So why am I paying? I'm in a hotel right now, by the way, in case you hear background noise. It's the staff vacuuming the hallway. So why am I paying $300 for a 2-star hotel in the middle of nowhere in Canada? And to be clear, I'm not choosing the 2-star by choice, but they'll be like small towns when you go a distance. So Canada is a really, really, really big country. Like I'm pretty sure, I've never done the exact math, but I'm pretty sure that going from left to right in Canada or east to west, west to east, I don't care, is going to probably be the equivalent of like comfortably driving through like 30 countries in Europe. I mean, some countries are like this big. So it's quite the distance, right? And when you're going from somewhere like Alberta to Ontario, there's going to be places, like it's not all Paris, London, Rome along the way. There's towns of like 500 people. And so the reason that sometimes it ends up being that the accommodations are so is that, well, there just isn't another option. And you might be thinking, well, why don't you drive a little more to another city? Well, then the drive can get really dangerous. Like, you know, being fatigued literally is, you know, is up there in terms of super dangerous driving, super, you know, physical dangerous, like accident prone driving. And the roads, some of them from west to east, you know, there's some, or from, you know, Alberta to Toronto, for example, because if you go to Toronto from like Halifax, it's pretty much clean highway the whole time. But if you do like in Alberta to Toronto, there's going to be some cliffiness there. And side note, the worst I've ever seen has been from Alberta to Victoria, BC. I mean, crossing the Rockies was literally like, we were not prepared. But anyways, I digress. So it just drives me nuts. Or even like in Toronto, so I'm not going to get there like 3 minutes before my flight, right? I thought the smart thing to do would be have a stopover the night before and sleep somewhere close to the airport the night before. Why are airport hotels in Toronto hundreds of dollars for like a 3-star piece of shit hotel? Why? I have seen enough of the world to know that pretty much in every country in the world, that would be the price for a memorable 5-star experience. Now, I give the caveat there that yes, within the 5-star realm, there's 5 stars and then there's 5 stars. There's 5-star places, like I mentioned in Dubai, for $50 a night, and I know because I've stayed in them, and there's 5-star places for, you know, $10,000, $20,000 a night. I've done that too. That's on my luxury lifestyle channel. So I'm not saying $50 is like the whole, all there is to 5-star, but if I can get a 5-star in a place like Dubai for that much, or, you know, $150, $200 for a 5-star in Paris, or, you know, $250 for a 5-star in Tokyo, like what are we doing? I've stayed at 5 stars in Australia for $120 AUD, which to Canadian converts to like 100. And if you're watching from America, well, luckily for you, that probably converts to like $60. Like it's insane. So I really think, And you know, so many issues with the Canadian economy, so many people are having issues with the Canadian economy in different areas of the economy and for different reasons. And granted, you know, that's always the case. Like I remember being a child and hearing about issues with the Canadian economy. Sure, that's the ups and downs of the marketplace, right? Like there's always going to be some issue and there's always going to be people talking about the issues. And that's okay. But the issues I feel have really, really compounded post-COVID. And the financial like lack of sense that I see with Canadian pricings, I mean, is scary. And a lot of times, so if somebody's traveling within Canada, sometimes it won't be because they have a choice, like they might have to go see a family member or this or that, you know, some people can't fly, whatever the case may be. They might not, you know, if you have a baby, you might not have the paperwork yet, like whatever the reason is. So I feel that there's a lot of traps being set up that way. And you know, Canada is a place that I feel is not seasonal specific to visit. So the tourism bit is there as well. Like visiting in the summer is going to be a great time to visit a place like Victoria or Halifax. But visiting in the winter is about as iconic as it gets because it's Canada and you can do all this like nice skiing on the Rockies and all that. But so I understand the business side of it. But again, that's what we're talking about, like premium experiences. I don't understand why 2-star hotels are hundreds of dollars in Canada or 3-star hotels. That part I don't understand. Yes, our labor is going to cost more than labor in some countries. Yes, that's a huge factor. But still, you're overcharging by a lot. Like I have as a lawyer clients that operate hotels. You're overcharging by a lot. And then you're going to sit there and wonder why the business is empty. One other example, so not hotel related that I saw, but like this example is like 24 Hours Fresh. So Air Canada is going on strike. And another company, airfare company that does a lot of business in Canada is WestJet. WestJet, as a result, I just saw on TikTok somebody shared, took their $400 tickets to $1,400 per ticket because now they know that there's no competition out there with Air Canada going down temporarily. Like at $400, again, I know the business side of it from being a business lawyer. At $400, I know you were already going to make a profit. So what the hell are you doing at $1,400? I mean, sure, I get it. Like maybe go from $400 to $550. $600 is insane. That's a 50% increase for nothing. $1,400? Like it's just not a lot of going on, you know? And again, that's pervasive in my opinion to a lot of industries in Canada. Like the real estate bubble we saw in Ontario is now I think happening in like Saskatchewan, Alberta, like the western provinces. Not conductive to business. Capital gains tax is not conductive to business. Tax rate, you know, for individuals on like T4 income is not conductive to successful people wanting to make a lot of money. You know, hotels not conducive sorry, have I been saying conductive this whole time? Yeah, none of it is conductive because it's not catching electricity. I mean conducive. Sorry, I just got out of a 2-hour meeting with a client. None of it is conducive to business. Like for the cost of a 1-week stay at some like crap hole hotel in Canada, like a 2-3 star, which at a few hundred a night is going to be like $2,000 for the week. I could fly to Dubai and back and stay there at a $50 a night 5-star luxury hotel. I could fly down south to the Caribbean. Like I'm not saying this is the level of trip that I take. I usually take, you know, luxury trips, like more like high in the luxuries, even not like the beginning point luxury. But again, having come from where I come from, like you don't disrespect a single dollar. That's my school of thought. And it's just so hard. Like it's so yuck. Flying within Canada often costs more than flying to a multitude of international locations. I have flown to Panama for less than flying across 2 provinces in Canada. It's just yuck. Obviously, some people are making money off of it. I mean, you know, obviously not everybody's losing from the price going up on everything. But it's just become a climate that, you know, this video is about the hotel scene because that's what's relevant to me right now. Like, as I'm booking all these trips and the transitions from here to Toronto and then Toronto internationally. So that's just something that's on my mind. But it's really, truly upsetting to see the version of Canada that I'm getting to experience now that, you know, I have a family and I have kids to provide for and I have my spouse and I have my businesses and this and that. Really, really discouraging. And I know there's political, thoughts behind that. I don't want to get into that right here, right now, because again, having gone as far up in the business world as I have, I don't even really think it's the left or right, whatever country you're in, like Republican, Democrat down south, or liberal, conservative in Canada. It's not even so much about that. It's about the people funding them. So, deep breath. I'll hang up. Thank you for watching. Sound off below. How do you handle like the insane cost of Canadian accommodations? Do you have tips and tricks for getting discounts? I'm pretty good at that stuff myself, and still it's really hard to beat the Canadian market. Or have you just given up on it altogether and you're just doing like only international trips? Let me know.